Before we start, a quick note. The story I'm telling is a fictionalized reimagining of my personal experiences. All names, companies, and details are changed or dramatized and don't reflect any real workplace. Stardew Valley and all in-game locations belong to Concerned Ape. I'm only using those fictionalized places to create a cozy, immersive storytelling experience. Thanks, and enjoy.
Diaries. Last left off, again, trying to switch managers, that did not work. So, I'm actually gonna go try to get the eel later on too. So that was pretty sad, but what made me happy at the end of the last time I played was the fact that we have a new character entering, and she ended up being one of my best friends to this day, actually. I still talk to her. She no longer works for Jojamart, unfortunately, because she had a similar experience as to what I had. But she's currently working at a company out west, doing really well. Her name for this video is Zainab, and she is a graphic artist. So when I was talking about the Jojamart structure last time, I let you guys know that for every team in the fashion department, it was supposed to be a team of 3 to 5 people. Because Garth was such a shitty manager, it was only me and him, and he offloaded the majority of his work to me. So most days I was just doing his work, my work, and just struggling with everything. And also trying to make sure that I kept him happy and not threatened, because he definitely felt threatened by the fact that I was doing so well, despite the fact that he was constantly trying to undermine me and make me look stupid. Around the time that Zainab was hired, Garth had actually taken on, oh look, the eels are in the water. That's great, let's see if we can try to find an eel. Garth had taken on another category, which was handbags. And the reason why he did this is because he could get a bonus anytime we made our budget. He had already taken on another accessories thing, but handbags was different. I believe the other accessories he had taken on was socks, which I was also working on exclusively. But handbags is really different because handbags requires a lot of hardware. If you think about how a handbag is made, you have your snaps, your buckles, you have different lining fabrics, leather. It's a whole different animal than clothing. I mean, it seems very similar, but it's really not. They're made in different factories. They have completely different terminology. I think this might be an eel. I might need to focus on this. Stop yapping for a second. But they have completely different terminologies, completely different fabrics that they're made out of. So it's considered a specialty. Fuck yes, got that eel. Fuck yeah. Hey, I'm getting these hormone fish on my bamboo rod. Probably the training rod would be even better, but whatever. We're not gonna push it. But very, very different than what I had worked on in the past. So I was nervous about taking on these new categories. Of course, Garth said, oh, I'm gonna help you with these. I got you, I'll be there. And aside from showing up to those initial meetings with the buyer, he did absolutely nothing. He also decided to go on vacation at this point. So he was gonna be at the office for 2 weeks, conveniently going on vacation with Tracy, the other manager in the department. This was happening the same week that Zainab was starting. And there was nobody there to train her because all the managers were gone. Zainab was supposed to originally, I think, be on Garth's team, but because he has such a bad reputation, they assigned her under Tracy instead, even though she's going to be primarily working with Garth and I. It was kind of a complicated management situation. Regardless, there was no manager there to train her, so as you can imagine, her training fell onto me. However, that did not bother me at all because I had such a bad experience when I was training. I didn't want anybody to have the same experience, so I made sure that I answered her questions, that I was patient with her. I made training videos with her, did whatever I could to honestly make sure that she had a much better experience than I had and she learned everything she needs to know. Because while Garth was on vacation, this would be the time that she learned how to do the different things that she needs to do at that job. Tracy was actually on vacation with Garth, which I still to this day think is a little sus, but I never asked any questions about it. But it was really cool because Zainab and I actually vibed really hard. We both really love to cook, and she's Indian Pakistani, so she would make these really, really amazing lunches. I am really into barbecue and grilling, so I would make amazing lunches, and oftentimes we would just trade our lunches completely. I would just give her mine, she would give me hers, and we would just eat whatever. There were a couple times we had like cooking parties where she would make some like Pakistani dishes and I'd make some like American dishes and we would eat those together. Like honestly, like one of the coolest people I've ever like met and like hung out with. And she had this really cool like background. Like I said, she's Indian and Pakistani, so she was born overseas but moved to America like when she was in college. She was married to an Italian man who she met on one of her random travels going across the world because she had family like she had family in Europe, she had family like in India, she had family in Pakistan, so she was always like kind of going around the world like seeing people. And she met her Italian husband on one of those trips. They lived in New York together for quite a few years before moving to Zuzu City to work for Jojamart. She still had an apartment in New York, but she was just tired of like everything that happened after, the pandemic. So she was ready to leave and like have a quieter way of life. Her husband had a daughter from a previous marriage, but he was a widow. So she had a stepdaughter that they were just like trying to, she was in high school, so they were just trying to like have a more like chill, laid back life after being like all over the world really for so many years. And that's why she chose to leave the exciting city of New York behind for a more quiet, but still lucrative job with Jojamart. I told her first 2 weeks that, I was willing to do anything for her to make sure that she like understood her job and that she was trained properly. But I also let her know that once Garth and Tracy came back, it'd probably be in her best interest. Oh, there's Willie. It'd probably be in her best interest to, I guess, not talk to me as much because I had seen what had happened to people in the past who had become my friends. And yeah, Garth really ruined their reputation or made their life harder or whatever. Here's Morris. Morris is actually walking home right now because I have the mod on, so he's actually getting to the bus. I remember when I had Saturdays off, back when I was just a grunt low in the Joja ranks. Oh, Morris. I remember being a grunt low in the ranks too. So Zainab was really excited to work at Jojamart at the time that we were working together. Really because I was such a good teacher. And I feel kind of bad about that now because I told her that it wasn't going to be that way when Tracy and Garth came back. But I don't think she believed me because I just gave her just like a rosy view of like how the company was. I warned her to not be so friendly with me when they came back because it's gonna make a target on her back. And she chose to ignore it. Like she obviously had experienced a lot of life, more than I had. So she was like, no, I can handle this. I'm not afraid of any bullies. Like that's not anything. The moment that Garth and Tracy came back, it really started to like, he started to show his ass, I guess you could say. Like the moment that Garth and Tracy came back, he was showing his ass to Zainab. He pretty much gave her like all these projects that he had been saving up for the past like 2 years at this point that he wasn't able to get anybody else to work on, telling her she had to get them done immediately. Had it not been for the fact that I had trained her before they got back after 2 weeks, then she would have been SOL. But even then, she was still like sometimes like calling me on Teams and being like, hey, like this is like way too much work for like my first couple weeks. Like, can you like tell him to like calm down? Unfortunately, no, I couldn't. And I told her, like, listen, I tried to talk to him and tried to like, have a conversation with him. And I did. I tried to like say like, hey, like you're just doing too much of her. Like, let her. And this is a new cutscene because this is like from the expanded version. I've never seen it before. That's her Leah. She's Native American. Hello. It's a lovely day today. I dropped by to check on my green beans. If they're ready to harvest. Gus and Pierre were here a little while ago taking care of the crops too. Pelican Town's community garden is pretty nifty, wouldn't you agree, Blue? The community garden is a neat idea. I like it. Yes, it's spectacular. I'm very thankful that it's a community garden. I don't have much property to grow my own food, but thanks to this little plot of land we all share, I can. I was trying to help Zainab by talking to Garth and letting him know that he was like putting too much on her and he would not pay attention. One of the biggest issues issues that started happening was with the seasonal category. Because again, like that was something that we had to design for. So like Spirits Eve, Harvest Festival, Feast of the Winter Star, things like that. We had to design the t-shirts for that. Because if you go to like Jojamart and you want to buy a t-shirt or like a Christmas sweater or something like that, you can buy it cheap at a Jojamart. Well, we're the people who actually design those cheap ass sweaters, unfortunately. And yes, I mean, you're designing for a customer who likes that sort of thing, but it's not the most exciting thing. So because of that, Garth had pretty much made it so that he didn't ever work on it, and it was exclusively like the thing that I had to work on, which, it was what it was. I didn't mind it. But once Zainab got there, he wanted her to work on it and her to do like all the research and everything. Now, I did mention earlier that Zainab grew up kind of in America, but she moved here when she was like in college. Like she grew up overseas, mostly in India and Pakistan. And so, although she understood like American holidays to an extent, neither she nor her husband were like American. So like they didn't celebrate Christmas the way that we celebrate Christmas typically. Also, like when she married her husband, like her stepdaughter, I think, was already like a preteen at that point, so she never did like Santa Claus. She was never like that kind of stepmom. They never did like Christmas pictures. I mean, like they were Italian and like East Asia or West Asian. West Asian. They were an Italian and West Asian family. They were not corny like that. So, but they didn't celebrate like Feast of the Winter Star like we did. They didn't celebrate Spirits Eve like we did. So she did ask, like, since I had been doing it for the past 2 years, if I could just help give her direction, which I was, like, perfectly fine with. Garth did not like that. Oh, Shay! Oh, no, Sebastian! Damn it! Oh, I got you! Yeah, I was perfectly happy, like, helping Zainab out with, like, all the different seasonal stuff. We had to do it on, like, the low, because anytime Garth found out that we were, like, working on it together, he would get really, really mad. He would tell Tracy that I was distracting Zainab from her work, which obviously was not the case. At one point, I did reach out to Garth and I said to him, like, listen, like, I know that you want her to do this and she can, but this is the reason why she needs help, because she's from a different cultural background and she just doesn't have, like, she just doesn't have, like, the nostalgia necessarily, so she wants me to work with her. And from that, he ended up calling me racist. And telling people that I was racist against, like, Asians, which I have never, like, what? Like, I was so, like, taken aback by that, because honestly, what the fuck, what are you talking about? I'm racist against Asians, like. But yeah, he called me racist because I was, like, trying to, like, help her with her work. And I was really taken aback, but that's the kind of person that he was. Like, anytime I tried to do something that was actually, like, helpful and I would explain why or whatever, he would always try to frame it in, like, the worst possible way. Because, again, his whole goal was to make me look dishonest, to make me look like I was a crazy person. So he had absolutely no problem just completely misinterpreting everything I said. For him, it was like shits and giggles, but for me, it ended up being a really hard thing to end up moving away from. Because, like, how are you supposed to have a professional reputation when your manager is the one spreading, like, these crazy lies about you, calling you racist, calling you, all sorts of crazy shit? So it was very disheartening. I'm gonna put the crab pot in here. Looks like I do have some fish in my little river here. Let's go ahead and add some bait to that and just stick close to the farm today. Oh, got a copper bar. Awesome. So let's go make that tapper. I did tell Zainab that, he was saying these things about me, and I explained to her, like, why I had brought up her cultural background. And again, she was actually, like, really happy that I did, because that's what she was telling me. So I wasn't, like, saying anything that was, like, weird, but it just really made me sad, I guess. That's the only way I can really describe it. It made me sad, because, like, what the hell? Hello, chickies. Garth, like, trying to, like, make Zainab hate me or whatever, and and make me look bad for her. Again, I had trained her for the first 2 weeks before he even came back from his vacation, so she had a much better idea as to who I was and was not intimidated or put off by anything that he said about me. He tried to invite her to the lunch club too, and she didn't want to go because she didn't like how he treated me. And that ultimately ended up putting a really big target on her. So yeah, Garth he decided to make Zainab's life a living hell as much as he wanted to make my life a living hell because he was really upset about the fact that she pretty much chose me over him. Although it's like a workplace environment, not a K-drama, so you would think it really wouldn't matter. People could be friends with who they want to be friends with, but like he took that personally and ended up really fucking with her in the long term. But meanwhile, on the other side of the Jojamart fashion department, Olivier and Noah, the French designer who had a hard time kind of like acclimating, and his assistant, who I had also trained, who had less experience than me and got the position that I wanted, they were fighting pretty much every day, and it was loud. Like, they were absolutely like yelling at each other. And for a place like Jojamart, that was like very concerning because we're a very buttoned up conservative company. It was like kind of an open format office, but you would sometimes like go past a meeting room with like Olivier and Noah, and they would literally be screaming at each other. Neither one would back down. It was bad. Olivier did eventually come to me saying like, man, like I really should have worked with you, you know, like I know that Garth had like told me that you were hard to work with, but now after working with Olivier or working with Noah, shit, I really should have gone with you. And I was like, well, I guess thanks for saying that now, but like what am I supposed to do with that? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, it's too late, you know, you made your choice and we can't unmake it. Noah was going as far even as to go to the director to complain about Olivier. And because Olivier was newer to the company, even though he was a more senior position than Noah, he wasn't like a senior employee. So the director, Maud, told him that yes, you can change assistants if you do something for me. Olivia said, okay, fine. What is it? Because I can't work here with Noah. Like, I just can't do it. It's just too difficult. So Maud wanted him to fire Marcus. Marcus was the graphic artist who worked on the men's team. And she told Olivier that he had to have meetings with Marcus, like every week, and put him on what's called a PIP, a performance improvement plan, aka a PIP. Olivier initially agreed to do it, and he put Marcus on the PIP. And every week, he would pretty much say that Marcus was doing a great job. So he did what Maud told him to do, but he said, like, yeah, like, he's not messing up anything. Like, he's a great employee. He does his work. He's good to talk to. Like, Olivier wasn't like gonna really play the game. Like, he was like trying to play it to the point that he could just like, you know, say, oh, I tried, but he wasn't really trying to get, you know, Marcus fired because he had no reason to. His issue was with Noah, not with Marcus. Maud did not like that, as you can imagine, because she felt like she was being played with. And eventually ended up making it so hard for Olivier that he was pushed out the company. However, I will get into that part of the Jojamart Diaries in our next installment.